know about award shows. Goodbye.
Jennifer Lopez hosts the American Music Awards Sunday on ABC.
Our top story tonight, 25 antelope found dead near Broadwater in Morrill County and police make an arrest. Your news starts now.
Now, in high definition, this is Coda Territory News at 10.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Scott Gross. 2 arrests have been made after 25 antelope are found dead near Broadwater in Morrill County. Nebraska Game and Parks Commission said reports of the animals came last week and the investigation was ongoing until last night. That's when 21-year-old Brent Horler and 24-year-old Taylor Miller were arrested after they admitted to the shootings. Morrill County Attorney Travis Rodak says a case with this many animals is rare, and that's the reason why there are so many rules in the recreational hunting system.
And that otherwise there'd just be chaos, there'd be depleted animal populations, there'd be potential injury and safety issues. You know, there's potentially houses nearby that they could have done farmers out, people shooting guns. There's a need for rules.
And staying with law enforcement, a Gary man facing 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child has signed off on a plea deal. Court documents show Kyle McDonald agreed to plead no contest to the charges. On August 6th, a 13-year-old female victim told investigators she had sex with McDonald 3 or 4 times since the beginning of 2015. The plea agreement spells out that McDonald is agreeing to face sentencing for both charges, each of which carry a mandatory minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life in prison. Well, if you're looking to make plans for the weekend, I've got a couple places for you to check out. We'll do that after Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick brings us the forecast first. And Mike, who gets the most snow from this next storm?
You know, interesting, Scott. The next storm, this one that's coming in tonight, will affect half of Nebraska, basically. This time it's the northern half. Last couple of storms have been more the southern half. But there'll be some areas of snow out and about, so be prepared to maybe leave a little extra time to get where you want to go tomorrow morning. I just never trust the roads in these kind of mornings. We are in the 20s to start, and some light snow could continue through the lunch hour and early afternoon, then taper off. We're only up to 32 for our high temperature. I will take a look at it on the map of who is going to get the most snow. That's coming up in just a few minutes, Scott.
Thank you, Mike. There's a lot of economic development successes in the city of Sydney. Mayor Mark Neinhauser touched base on recent and current recreational housing, infrastructure, and business developments. He said the city has had $242 million in development activity since 2012. The city has over $8,000 payroll jobs in the community of less than 7,000 people. And in 1990, the city's lodging revenues were $1 million, whereas in 2013, the revenues were almost at $10 million. Well, melanoma patients get a little help from the Scottsbluff Student Nurses Association in a very unique way. The UNMC students sold and raised money selling T-shirts on behalf of their instructor, Wendy Wells, who was diagnosed with melanoma 19 months ago. Wells wants the money raised to go to the Festival of Hope to help local patients with travel expenses and treatments in Denver.
I wanted it to be a local agency that deals with people with cancer, and knowing that I had to go to Denver for treatment as it wasn't available here, I wanted to help someone who may not have resources to do those trips.
Wells is now melanoma free, and she says she is very proud of all of her students. In all, they raised about $200. Well, when the wintry days hit and it's hard to deliver meals, that's when the snow angels take flight. Well, in case that ever happens, Volunteer Center Executive Director Jill Allen for the Meals on Wheels program says they packed 80 emergency food packs or snow angel packs filled with non-perishable items that the community donated. Allen says they are looking for snow angel drivers, people who think they're pretty good driving in the snow or icy conditions, so the people in the Meals on Wheels program can receive their food. If you'd like to help, go to our website for the volunteer list. It's at codanow.com. Well, Applebee's held their ribbon cutting today at the Monument Mall. The restaurant announced this summer that they would be changing locations and moving into the mall. Today, they are open for business, but the spotlight belonged to the employees who were there and helped along the way. Applebee's is located next to Twisted Pretzel in the mall, but they used to be stationed, if you remember, on 27th Street. Well, from a well-known restaurant to a brand new place to dine in downtown Scottsbluff, you'll be in and out in 30 to 45 minutes. That, according to owner Meredith Lee. The new restaurant called The Shed on 16th Street and First Avenue used to be the woodshed. So far, the response is very positive.
They understand that I want to keep the nostalgia, and I understand that the woodshed was a long time running business, and I'm excited to bring something new to it, but still keep the tradition of it, the tradition of downtown, the tradition of Scotts Bluffs.
The shed will also be open on Sundays for brunch. To find out all of the hours, head to our website at CODAnow.com. Coming up, find out what kind of legislation Republicans will introduce regarding refugees. Plus,
the alleged mastermind of the terror attacks here in Paris is dead. I'm Marcy Gonzalez in Paris with the very latest on the investigation and the newest possible threat coming up.
The Medical Minute is brought to you by...
Covering the world tonight, his body so riddled with bullets and shrapnel that investigators could only identify him by his fingerprints. The so-called mastermind of the attack in Paris that killed 129 people is killed during a dramatic siege in the suburbs of Paris. Here's Marcy Gonzalez.
His body found in the rubble of this raid. So riddled with bullets and shrapnel, investigators could only identify him by his fingerprints. Today, police confirming Abdelhamid Abaoud, the so-called mastermind of the Paris attacks, is dead. Police say Abaoud was also behind at least 4 other ISIS plots this year, including the attempted attack on a Paris-bound train. Authorities are now looking into how the 27-year-old was able to sneak into France to lead this terror cell that investigators say was planning another attack.
The counterterrorism officials in France right now are worried about other attacks that might be planned, and that's the #1 priority for them.
French police shown here training for a possible chemical attack, with France's prime minister saying today that threat is real.
There is also the risk from chemical or biological weapons. This is a new war.
Police are still searching for 2 suspects accused of carrying out Friday's attacks, including Salah Abdeslam, believed to be the gunman shown in this disturbing video from the DailyMail.com. Diners in this cafe ducking for cover, the killer shooting his AK-47, then taking aim at one woman when his gun seems to jam. That woman and everyone else inside surviving as Abdeslam runs out. And officials now confirm the woman who blew herself up during yesterday's raid was Abdeslam's cousin. Police looking for others with a connection to the case carried out more raids this morning in Belgium, taking at least 9 people into custody. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Paris.
Congress voted today to keep all Syrian and Iraqi refugees out of the U.S. At least for now. The legislation requires the FBI to not only run checks on all refugees, but for top national security officials to personally certify that each refugee from Syria or Iraq is not a threat.
When we have indications that some of the Paris bombers, one at least, may have come through the refugee routes, don't you think that common sense dictates that we should take a pause?
President Obama's Homeland Security Secretary briefed members of Congress before the vote and tried to assure them that the current process is thorough. Jay Johnson called the bill counterproductive. And Union Pacific will be closing their Burnham repair facility in the Mile High City in February, with more than 200 jobs being shifted to other locations across the country. Repair facilities in South Morrill, North Platte, and North Little Rock, Arkansas will take over the locomotive repairs that had been done in Denver. 90 Colorado-based workers will be shifted to another Denver facility by February 14th. The number of coal trains originating out of Colorado has dropped by 80% since 2005. Well, how much snow is on the way? Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick has the answer. Your accurate First Alert forecast is next.
The Coda Market Report is Benjamin Franklin Plumbing.
Now, the First Alert forecast. Weather coverage you can count on from Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick.
Start the day with some scattered snow showers out and about, enough to make for some slippery areas. Excuse me, and that'll be mainly in the northern half of the Panhandle. And we're in the 20s to start, and we hold the 20s most of the day. A high temperature back to 32, and the snow starts to taper off. But we could see an inch or maybe even a little bit more than that in the Scottsbluff area, a little bit more farther to the north. Not going to be seeing the sun much. Mel Flick had sent this photo on in, the red sky at morning, but there'll be gray sky at morning tomorrow. Giving this one a winter impact number of 1, this will be mainly a dusting to around 2 inches of snow. Farther north, just right along the South Dakota border, it might be just a little bit more than that. So be prepared for a few slippery spots, and we've done it a couple times already. But some tips just to remember: to slow down, leave a little early wherever you're going. It's always a good idea to clean all the snow off of your windows so you can see everybody who's driving out and about. It's always a good idea to keep your cell phone charged so you've got it available for you, but don't use your cell phone when the roads are on the slippery side. So this is our potential for snowfall, and starting this off at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And most of the accumulation will have been in the northern half of Nebraska here. The light blue here is getting into the 2-inch range, so this is anywhere from a ½ inch to 2 inches there. Head through the day, expands a little bit. In our area, you get straddling the Nebraska, South Dakota border here, and there might be some 3-inch or better accumulations, but it's really northeastern Nebraska that gets hit hard with 6 to 8 inches, and in fact, the extreme northeast corner here where South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa meet, there could be 8 to 12 inches of snow. Now, that's tomorrow's scenario. We're still tracking this storm system for next week, which is still on track, but there are some subtle differences in it over the last couple of days here. Tuesday, it's still just entering the Pacific Northwest here. But this is not shaping up right now to be a huge storm system. It's big enough that there'll be snows here through much of the western states, so there could be air delays, could be some driving slowdowns because of snow, but not a huge storm system the way it's shaping up right now into Thanksgiving Day here, but it will be cold. The cold is guaranteed out of this one for Thanksgiving. So here is this storm system moving in right now. We already have snow in the northern panhandle. This system is going to continue to develop on through the night and into the day tomorrow. We did take it up to 41 this afternoon. We're back down to 34 right now. Sydney's a little cooler at 30, 34 also in Omaha. 34, a big number right now. So the storm develops with the snow developing and continuing the northernmost areas through much of the day tomorrow, and then tapering off late, but the conditions a little worse in northeastern Nebraska. Then we clear out, but we're cold too Saturday morning, and Saturday staying cold through the day. But as that cold high moves away, we actually do have some warmer air that'll start coming back into Sunday. Sunday and next week will be a bit warmer before the Thanksgiving chill. All right, here's the way it looks in your forecast. Light snow continues to develop. We're down to 27 in Scottsbluff, 25 in Torrington and Chadron. Then tomorrow, light snow continues. On average, around 1 to 3 inches, more the farther north you go. 32 in Scottsbluff, 29 in Torrington tomorrow. Then Saturday clearing out in 36, Sunday a sunny 48 and some 50s Monday and Tuesday, but clouding up a bit more Wednesday and Wednesday night to Thursday, Thanksgiving, some light snow. We're back to 27.
Thanksgiving is a
edition weekdays at 6 on Coda Territory.
Is this year's Thanksgiving meal still a good value? Ken Rogers takes a look right after Scott Miller takes a look at our market report.
On our closing markets now, corn on the Chicago Board of Trade ended higher today. Wheat in Kansas City also finishing up. Back to Chicago at the CME, live cattle prices were down across the board. Feeder cattle prices mostly lower. Box beef cutout values down $1.85 to $204.83. In the bean market, pintos at $20, Great Northerns at $18. In the hay market, utility alfalfa large squares 75 to 80, ground and delivered alfalfa at 105. Cash basis in the grains, wheat from 387 to 407, 334 to 344 for corn. A relatively flat day for Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrials losing nearly 4.5 points. The Nasdaq was off 1.5. S&P 500 losing just over 2.25. Commodities in New York, gold gained $12.80. Silver was up 15 cents. Oil losing 30 cents to end at $40.45 a barrel. With our final market note, here's Ken Rogers with today's Ag View.
This is Ag News, powered by agview.net. On the Coda Market Report, I'm Ken Rogers. The American Farm Bureau Federation's 30th annual informal price survey of classic items found on your Thanksgiving dinner table indicates the average cost of this year's feast for 10 at $50.11. That's a 70-cent increase from last year at $49.41. The big ticket item, that 16-pound turkey, came in a total of $23.04 this year. That's roughly $1.44 a pound, an increase of less than 9 cents a pound, total of $1.39 per turkey compared to last year. American Farm Bureau Federation Deputy Chief Economist John Anderson says the survey really didn't have a whole lot of surprises.
We really didn't have any huge moves on most of the items this year, but there were a few items that were up compared to a year ago. Fresh sweet potatoes are one of the items that were up some. Pumpkin pie mix up a little bit. Some of the bigger movers in the survey, though, were the dairy-related items. We have whole milk, whipping cream. Our miscellaneous items includes butter. Those items were up some compared to a year ago, and that's really not too much of a surprise. Dairy product prices have, for the most part, have been up at the retail level for most of this year, and so our survey is really confirming information that's consistent with what we've seen all year long.
The average cost of the dinner has remained around $49 since 2011. This is the first year it's reached over $50. That's Ag News, powered by agview.net. On the Coda Market Report, I'm Ken Rogers.
And let's talk a little more turkey. While the national average prices of turkeys may be over $1 a pound, local stores are competing for the best prices before Thanksgiving. Now, after this year's bird flu killed off some of next year's turkey supply, turkey prices for Thanksgiving of next year are expected to be higher. Main Street Market in Scottsbluff, well, they've reduced their Sure Fresh store branches 69 cents a pound right now. That's 80% lower than last year. Stores can lower generic brands of turkey prices because they have a better deal with suppliers. But brands such as Butterball Premiums, they're still at $1.49 a pound. And according to the USDA, their latest survey of retail frozen turkey prices is 1 cent cheaper per pound than it was a year ago.
Turkey's the center of your dinner plate. Everything goes around it. Well, every retailer in the country knows that turkey is the center of the plate. And we all know what goes on the Thanksgiving plate. So we all want to compete for the consumers to come into our stores. So turkey is probably the most price-sensitive item of the Thanksgiving holiday.
Now, cooking that turkey, we have a few do's and don'ts for cooking that bird. According to the Butterball Talk line, the most important things to remember are the 4 T's: thaw, temperature, 2 hours, and 3 days. Thaw your turkey in the refrigerator at least 1 day for every 4 pounds. So those of you with those big 28-pound birds should have it in the fridge right now. Now, when cooking the turkey, it's not done until it hits 180 degrees in the thigh and 170 degrees in the breast. Leftovers need to be stored within 2 hours of cooking, and eat it or freeze it within 3 days. Well, hoping to leave nothing behind, the Western Nebraska Community College volleyball team opens national tournament play today. Then another set of volleyball ladies, the Huskers. They're on quite a roll. John Clanton has a closer look coming up in Coda Territory Sports.
Baumgars has what you need.
Territory. Good evening. The Nebraska volleyball team seems to be peaking at the right time. The ladies rolled to a straight sets win over Indiana last night. Michaela Fecky and Katie Rolfson would lead the way in the win. Fecky finishing with 13 kills and 3 blocks, while Rolfson finished with 11 kills and 14 digs. The victory is the Huskers' 7th in a row and puts them at 23-4 overall and 14-3 in conference play. With Penn State set back last night to Michigan, the Huskers currently sit alone in 2nd place in the conference standings. Nebraska will play their final regular season road contest when they take on Michigan Saturday, before wrapping up the regular season next week with home matches against Illinois and Penn State. The Major League Baseball awards continue this week. Last night, the Cy Young Awards were given to baseball's top pitchers. On the American League side, Houston pitcher Dallas Keuchel was named the winner. Keuchel, while helping the Astros advance to the postseason, compiled a 20-8 overall record with a 2.48 earned run average and 216 strikeouts, while Chicago's Jake Arrieta was named NL Cy Young Award winner. Arrieta led the majors in wins, going 22-6, including an 11-0 pace in his last 12 starts, helping the Cubs reach the league championship series. The Cubs are the first team since the Mariners in 2001 to win 3 major awards in one season. Last week, Joe Madden was named a Manager of the Year and Chris Bryant was named a Rookie of the Year. The Western Nebraska Community College volleyball team beginning their journey towards a national championship today. The second-seeded Cougars in Day 1 action of the National Junior College Volleyball Tournament in Casper. Round 1, no problems for the ladies as the Cougars earned their 40th win of the season, defeating Yavapai College out of Arizona. The win would send the ladies into the quarterfinal round tonight against Missouri State West Plains. And folks, it wasn't easy, but the Cougars move on to the semifinal round as they defeat Missouri West Plains in 4 sets. Sticking with the Cougar theme, both basketball teams at home tonight. We start with the ladies taking on Colby. First half, Lady Cougars looking strong. Michaela Gonzalez in the paint for 2. Later, Callie Feddersen for 3. Into the E to the T. Cougars pick up the win tonight. To the men, they were taking on the Valley Shooters. First half, Cougars up and adding to it. Mitchell grad Bo McVeigh showing the shooting touch, nailing the tray. Valley squad fighting hard though. Dustin Schwartz, the jumper for 2. However, this one belonged to the home team. Off the miss, Cougars running transition, and Phil Fain finishes with the flush. WNCC picks up the win for the Cougar men-women sweep tonight. Both teams back in action tomorrow night as well. And that's all for our 10 o'clock sports. Everyone have a great night, and we'll be right back. So, see ya.
Sandberg Honda in Gering is your full line.
November 26th.
The Gear Up program has been in the headlines recently because of a murder-suicide of the state administrator of the federal program in South Dakota. Authorities believe Mid-Central employee Scott Westerhouse killed his family, then himself, hours after the state declined to renew the contract. Tonight, we put children first with a closer look at the Gear Up program, gaining early awareness and readiness for undergraduates.
I feel like when you're a student, you have like a different mindset. It's more like a trudging on, and you're pulling your backpack right behind you, and you're like, I'm gonna make it.
Sabrina Poirier says for her, it's best to get out of the house and study in a public place, a bookstore, or a coffee shop. Sabrina is the first in her family to graduate from high school. She's now a freshman at Black Hills State University, much thanks to a long-term relationship with Gear Up.
It kind of gave like a kickstart, and that's something that we always say is Gear Up gave us a kickstart to life.
Gear Up is a low-income, predominantly Native American college readiness program for middle and high school students. There's also the summer residential program here at the School of Mines, pushing math, science, and engineering careers. Ultimately, the Gear Up program aims to make a college education a possibility and a reality for students who otherwise may not be able to do so. It emphasizes intervention, mentoring, financial assistance, and family involvement. In the 2014-15 school year, 4,629 students were helped by the South Dakota Gear Up with $3.4 million. A performance report by an outside evaluator found mixed results. The evaluation from USD finds a lack of proven success. Due to a lack of access to data, the evaluation team was unable to determine South Dakota Gear Up's effect on college placement for schools in the South Dakota Board of Regents system. We encourage future evaluation teams to create surveys that follow students after high school to find their college placements and track their retention rates. Right now, Sabrina's life is her traditional dance and her studying. She wants to use her education to start a business on the reservation. Sabrina is convinced Gear Up has made a difference in her life. Funds are also used to provide college scholarships to low-income students. It's paying for Sabrina to take a full load of classes, evenings here at Black Hills State University Center.
I just want to go to school as much as I can until I can't go anymore.
Her favorite class is Mitchell Stone's Western Civilization course, and now she's thinking about teaching. This is a setting where she can put all her troubles out of her mind.
If I'm having like a really rough day, I can go to class and just forget about everything. And that's something that I always like put value to is my classes. Not only because I didn't have to pay for them, but also because I think about the kids that don't get to go to school or my classmates that are just working so they can afford next semester. It's really eye-opening to think about how thankful I am and how blessed I am to go to my classes.
2019, that's Sabrina's favorite number, and that's the year she'll graduate from college. Coverage you've come to expect, coverage you can count on. Our first team salute comes from Bear Cub Preschool in Scotts Bluff. Thanks for watching. Jimmy Kimmel is coming up next.
Thanks for watching Coda Territory News. Coverage you can count on yesterday, today, and tomorrow.